Welcome to Mythical Meeples. Today I'll be unboxing Skaventide, the new Warhammer book set for Warhammer Age of Sigmar's 4th edition. So here you can see all the various contents of the box. You get several books, you get this battle mat, and you get all of these miniatures as well. So we get a 272 page Warhammer Age of Sigmar core book, which you can see here. 144 page Spearhead, Fire and Jade, double-sided game board, a 36 card Spearhead deck, 17 General's Handbook cards, and 4 terrain features, which you can see here as well. In terms of miniatures, you get a Stormcast Eternal army and Skaven army. So with Stormcast Eternals, you get the Lord-Vigiliant on the Gryph-stalker, Lord-Terminos, Lord-Vigiliant, and Knight Questor, which you can see here and here. The Reclusians, the Prosecutors, and the Liberators. For the Skaven, you get the Clawlord on Gnaw-beast, the Grey Seer, Warlock Engineer, Ratling Warpblaster, Rat Ogors, and Clanrats. So you get a lot of miniatures in this set. You get a nice mix of infantry, vehicles, a vehicle of sorts, monsters, lots of different units for you to paint up. So without further ado, let's look inside. So when you open up the box, you get this lovely poster on the top, featuring the Skaven and the Stormcast Eternals. And you can see already it is crammed full of sprues. You've got all your bases here, so a mix of 40mm, what looks like 28, more 40. So you've got a whole different host of bases. Here we have what looks like the Rat Ogors. You've got the Liberators for the Stormcast, Prosecutors, Clawlord. This looks like the Warplock Jezzails. This is the Lord-Vigiliant. This one's got a mix of Stormcast and Skaven. Like the Reclusian sprue. You've got the Clanrats. You've got 2 sprues of them. And here you've got the terrain, and you've got the Ratling Warpblaster as well. Then we get this other piece of card, again, same as the one before, separating out the miniatures from the books and the bigger bases. So you can see these are for your Warplock Jezzails, your Lord-Vigiliant, Ratling Warpblaster, and the Clawlord. So you've got this little book. It takes a while to peel off the sticker. It's not the easiest thing to do, so just be careful when you do it. You've got your cards in here, along with your instruction booklet. So you've got all of your General's Handbook cards. So you've got battle plans, battle tactics, things like that. In here you've got your Spearhead cards. So you've got some twists by the looks of it. Different twists here. So they just make each battle a little bit different. Here, as we said before, you've got your instruction booklet. We'll be going through this in a bit. And then finally, you've got your battle mat. So we'll have a look at the battle back in a minute. But in here, right at the bottom, you have got the rulebook. fact, you've got both rulebooks. So here you can see your core rulebook, and you've also got Fire and Jade as well. So as promised, here's the back mat, or at least half of it. So it folds up really nicely, like so, and you can fold it away again quite easily as well. So I'll try and demonstrate that a little bit now, if I can remember how it goes back together. So it folds up really nice and easily. So I'm going to look through the instruction manual, look at each unit, and then refer to that unit sprue. So you can see here a list of all the different sprues you've got. You get 2 Clanrat sprues, as we said before, and 1 of each of the rest. You've also got this whole list of bases down the bottom. 44 25mm, 232, 1940mm, 350mm, 360mm oval, 175mm oval, 190mm oval, and 105mm oval. So at the very first page, you can see that we get this little measuring stick, which is just on the terrain sprue here along the bottom. You also get a smaller one here. It's just a bit of a unique gimmick, I guess. I'd much prefer to use a tape measure or something similar, or a ruler for measuring, but at least it gives you some options. So first up, we've got the Lord-Vigiliant on Gryph-stalker. So you can see here, you start off by building the rider, by building up the torso and the arms. You've got quite a few sort of smaller pieces here. Once that's done, you start by building up the head of the mount, followed by the body of the mount, which you see here and here. Attach the rider to the body, and then start sticking on some of the armour and accessories, as you can see here. You end up with something like this. So it's a lot simpler than you'd expect for such a big model, and I expect a lot of these will be relatively easy to build. So you can see the sprue here, and you can see all of the lovely details on this model. You've got all the sort of feathers on the Gryph-stalker. You've got the detailing on the base. You've got the flames and runes on the axe. Chainmail on the armour. Yeah, really, really detailed and intricate model. You can see all the muscles in the mount as well. So it should be good for holding washes for the most part, other than some of the cloak is slightly flat, or good for just layering, depending on how you want to paint this. So in terms of mould line, they are incredibly faint. I don't know if you can make them out on the camera. They are barely visible. So cleaning this up should be really quick and easy to do, which is ideal. Next up, we've got the Lord-Vigiliant. So like before, very simple model to build. You can see here, you've got the, you start by building up the body and the head. Follow that with the arms, like so. Attach the cloak, attach your shoulder pads and shield, and then attach it to the base. Once that's done, you build the Gryph-hound, which comes in 3 separate parts, and you end up with 2 models, something like this. So having a look at the sprue. So this is the one we saw before, which shares with the Skaven. And again, you've got very similar details to before. You've got all these lovely runes, the lovely sort of fur and feathers on the Gryph-hound, these lovely flames, and the runes, very intricate and detailed models. And again, it should be pretty good for however you want to paint it, whether you want to go for washes or contrasts, with the exception of the cloak, which has got some larger, flatter areas. Much like the Lord-Vigiliant, mould lines are few and far between, and I have a feeling this might hold up for the rest of the set. which is a very good omen indeed. Next up, we've got the Lord-Terminos, the Knight Questor, and the Reclusians. We're going to be looking at these all together as they all share a sprue. So you can see here for the Lord-Terminos, you start off by building up the body and the head, which you can see here. Once that's done, you attach the cloak and the front armor piece, then the shoulder pads, and then the arms. Moving on to the Knight Questor, you do the body, followed by the arms and the head, then the armor and the cloak, finishing off with the shield, and you've got this little bit to go in the base. Then once that's done, we've got the Reclusians. So you can see here, you start with the back of the body, arms, head, legs, then you put the front of the body on, followed by the cloak, and the arm and shield. Second Reclusian's very similar to the first, as you can see here, and is pretty much the same process. Third Reclusian, again, very similar process. Body, arm, head, followed by the front of the torso, the cloak, left arm, and then a shield to go on the back. We've also got these little Memorians, which come in a few different pieces. So you've got a choice of, so you've got two parts of the body and your arms, and that's the same for each of them. So they all come in 3 different pieces. So here you can see the sprue, and it's relatively obvious which piece each model belongs to. So here you can see your Memorians, and there should be another one somewhere. Up the top here. You can see your axes, so this is the Lord-Terminos. You've got the backs of the bodies, you've got the Knight Questor up here, so it's relatively easy to work out which model is which. And you can really tell this when you look at the numbers. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is all one model really, and then you'll have each model separated out like so. Once again, looking for mold lines, they are really, really faint and will be very, very easy to remove. Did spot one on the leg here. I don't know how well you can see it, but they are so faint. It's really hard to get A, a good angle, and B, actually see them in the first place. So cleaning them up is going to be a really quick and easy process. Next up, we've got the Prosecutors. So the first model can be built as either a champion or a regular Prosecutor. Either way, you start off by building up the body and the wings, which you can see up here. And once that's done, you add in your head. You've got a choice of heads for both models, whether you go champion or regular Prosecutor. You can do the front of the armor, arms, leg, and you've got your shield as well. And it's almost exactly the same if you go for the regular warrior as well. Then your 2 other Prosecutors, you only really get head options for them. You've also got a slight variation on the piece of masonry you can put in the base. And again, you're doing main part of the torso with the wings, following on with the legs and the arms, and finally front of the armor, and then shield arm. This part of the model, model 3, you've got your torso. This time you're going to have to attach it to the rest of the body and the wings, followed by your head. Then you attach that to the main bulk of the body with the legs and the arm, which you can see here. Once that's done, you attach your shield arm and you end up with this. So here you can see your Prosecutor sprue, and you can already see just how detailed these models are. Looking at the wings, you've got the sort of flames and the wings itself. You've got the chainmail armor over here. They're all very similar, so this would be one model, second model up here, third model over here. We're just going to look at this one in a bit more detail. Got this lovely shield design with all the rivets. You've got your heads here. It's very detailed armour. Really, really gorgeous models. And once again, the mould lines are very, very faint, and those that are there will be very quick and easy to remove. Moving on to the final unit for the Stormcast is the Liberators. So you get 10 Liberators, and you've got a couple of different options that you can build them as. You can have the option with a shield, or option with two-hand weapons. We've also got options to build a champion or a regular liberator as well. So for building these, looking at it, you want to start off by building up the torso, or the main bulk of the body, with the head. Once that's done, and the arm, which you can see here, then you attach the left arm, either going for your shield or your second-hand weapon. And the process is the same for the champion or regular warrior. Rest of your warriors are quite similar as well. So you've got a choice of two-handed weapon, which you can see here for one of them. And again, you've got the option going for the shield or second-hand weapon as well. So you want to start off by building up the body with the head, attach that to the base. Once that's done, you then attach your arms, as you can see here. So they're all relatively simple builds. And then the rest of the Liberators are the same as well. So body, head, followed by your arms. And you just follow this process for all of them. So they're very simple models, really easy to build, which is what you want if you've got a lot of them. So you get 2 sprues of these. I'm just going to look at one for now. You can quite clearly see what each piece is. You've got your shields, you've got your left-handed weapon, right-handed weapon. You can see all the different heads. Got some really cool models in here. I quite like the new look for the Liberators. I know there's a bit of controversy over it, but I do quite like them, and they do fit with the rest of the Stormcast range now. So yeah, you've got lots of lovely details. You can see the scale mail and the plate armour, these shields that they've got. I didn't see the great hammer. That's down the bottom here. So it's quite easy to make out sort of what each bit is. And at first glance, they do seem to be numbered relatively organised manner. So obviously you've got 6, and you can see 10, 11, 12, 13 down the bottom here as well. So I'm assuming it just goes up as you go that way across the sprue. So in terms of mould lines, they are once again very, very faint. You might be able to pick them out on the hammer over here. Just try and catch them in the light. As you can probably tell, they are really, really faint. So they will once again be very easy to remove. So on to the Skaven now, starting with the Clawlord or Gnaw-beast. So you can see here, you start off by building up the Gnaw-beast itself, body and back legs, followed by the front half of the body, which you can see here. Once that's done, you attach it to its scenic base. You end up with something like this. Once you've got the bulk of the monster, you're then moving on to the rider. So you want to start with the torso again, and the right arm, followed by the left arm by the looks of it. Or left arm then right arm, sorry. Then once that's done, you attach the rider to the back of the beast. So another very simple, easy to build miniature. So you can see it here, and again you can just see how few pieces there are for this model, which if you have a lot of Skaven does make your job far easier. You can see all the details on the base, this sort of pool of goo as it were. The ruins, the architecture on the ruins, very detailed. You've got this very tarnished spear, the tattered cloth. You can see the rat face over here. It's an awesome looking miniature. And you can see as well, you've got all the fur on the back of the sort of on the back of the legs of the Gnaw-beast as well. So you've got a lot of details going on here. Again, these should be good for if you prefer traditional painting techniques, or if you prefer to use contrasts and washes. And again, in terms of mould lines, they are very, very faint. It's quite hard because of the curves of the model and angles of it to actually show you any of them, but you're looking at something similar to the Liberators, but they are very, very faint. Next up, we've got the Grey Seer and Warlock Engineer. So these are on the same sprue, so we're going to look at both of them together. For the Grey Seer, you start off by building up its body and the head, which you can see here, and follow it up with the arms. So it comes in 6 pieces, sorry. And your Warlock Engineer, you do the 2 body halves, or 3 parts of the body, which you see here, and the shoulder pad here. And this one comes in 4 pieces. So very, very simple builds. So expect we'll see this in the new starter sets when it comes out, as it shares the sprue with the Stormcast over here. So you can see again, you've got the tattered cloth that's very common across the Skaven. You've got this sort of ruined base. You've got the Grey Seer's staff, the rifle of the Warlock Engineer. These really detailed rat tails. You can see the wood grain here on the scenic base of the Grey Seer. Really, really cool models. I'm quite looking forward to building and painting these as well. Got a lot of character to them. Once again, the mould line's very, very faint. You might be able to make them out on the gun here. Don't know if you can see them, if I can focus in on them. So they're going to be quite easy and quick to clean up. Next up, we've got the Ratling Warpblaster. So for this, it looks like it's going to be a bit more complicated, but actually when you go through the instructions, as you can see here, there's far fewer pieces than you'd expect for such a contraption. So you want to start by building up the sort of main structure of it, which you can see here. You might want to build this in sub-assemblies for painting, otherwise you might struggle to get to these middle pieces, but that might depend on how easy it is to do so. So as I was saying, you've got to build up your sort of structure in the middle with your Skaven pushing it on the outside, which you can see here. Then you build up the sort of centre with the gun, which you can see here. So you've got separate pieces and sub-assemblies sort of going on already. So you're kind of building up the outside, the bottom parts. And you've got your gun, finish off assembling the gun part. Once that's done, you attach the two together, so I'd probably do these separately and then attach them at a later date. Once that's done, you then pop it on the base and you end up with this. So much simpler build. I think you've only got 16 pieces in total, whereas you'd normally look at that and think, oh, that's going to come in a lot of different pieces. So here you can see the sprue for the Ratling Warpblaster. As I said before, it really doesn't look like there's enough pieces here, but there are. You can see all the detailing of the wood grain here and here on the wheels. You can see the gun and all the cabling to it. You've got the Skaven, again they've got that very tattered, ragged look. As to these ones here, you've got that sort of tatty cloth with chainmail underneath. Just a surprising amount of detail on these. Especially on the sort of Skaven, here you're not going to see sort of the insides of. So you can actually see the mould line on this part of the model, although it is very faint once more, so cleaning them up, it's going to be quick and easy to do like the rest of the models in this set. Next we've got the Rat Ogors. So you can see here you've got a choice of 2 pieces for this model. You want to start by building up the legs and the torso, which you can see here, as well as the head, and then you attach them all together. Once that's done, you've got a choice of different arms that you can go with. So your left arm is fixed, your right arm, you've got a couple of different options to choose from. So you can have this gun, or you just have the blade. And your other 2 Rat Ogors are built in a fixed manner. So again, you want to build up your body, which you can see here, as well as your legs and your head, and you attach them together. Once that's done, you build up the arms and you attach that to the rest of the Rat Ogre. And it's a similar principle for the last one. Body and legs, attach them together. Once that's done, you've also got the head, which you attach to the torso, and follow that up with your arms. So here you can see the sprues for the Rat Ogres. You can make out that this is probably one model, a second model, and a third model. You've got lots of detail. You can see all the fur and the sort of flesh. You've got the blades of their weapons and the gun over here with all of its cabling. You've got lots of different details going on, and again these should be really good for holding washes and contrast paints if that's how you want to paint them. Got all these lovely sort of folds in the muscles, all the fur as well, so you've got a lot sort of going on in terms of depth and layers. This is sort of the inside of the sprue, not much going on there. On the outside of the model, you can see just how much depth and detail there is. And like the rest of the models, there's not much going on in the terms of mould lines and things. Next up, we've got the Warplock Jezzails. So for these, you want to start off by building up the Skaven with shield, and they all look like they come in sort of 3 or 4 different pieces. So you want to attach the body, or half the body, to the shield arm, followed by the rest of the body. This one you want to attach the 2 body pieces together, then attach it to the shield arm, and this one you want to attach the 3 body pieces, and then attach it to the shield arm. You've got a choice of champion, or regular Warplock. These I think are a misprint, so this one should actually be the champion with the double barrel, and this one's just a regular Warplock. But you can see they're quite a simple build. You attach the body to your sort of gun stabilizer by the looks of it, then you've got the leg, and then you've got the actual gun, and it's pretty similar for the champion and Warplock. And your other Warplocks are pretty much the same. You've got the body and this sort of stabilizer part. I think it's quite hard to make out what it is. That might actually be a leg, not a stabilizer. And then you attach the gun here. Once that's done, you then choose which of your shields you want to go with which of your gunners, and you end up with a trio of Warplock Jezzails like this. So here's the sprue, and again you can easily make out which piece is which. Got the double barreled gun of the champion. You can see the shield arms of the miniatures. Pretty well laid out as well, so you can see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's very nicely laid out and makes it really easy to find things. And again, you've got this kind of tattered cloth look, giving the Skaven a unified look. You've got all this lovely detailed wood grain on the shields. You can even see it on the barrels of the gun as well. Got stocks of the gun. Don't know my gun pieces very well. So yeah, really detailed. I love these. Again, on sort of the longer, flatter pieces like the guns, it's quite easy to make out the mould lines, but again, they are really, really faint like the rest of the mould lines in this set. So you'll be able to see them, but once with the hobby knife and they'll be gone. Finally, for the Skaven, we are on to the Clanrats. So looking at these, I can already see how much more dynamic and different these poses are compared to the old Clanrat poses, and you've even got different options for building your champions with a Terminus, Eshin or Pestilence head, allowing you to build whichever clan that you want. So for the champion, you build up your model comes in sort of 2-3 different pieces. So you attach the 2 body parts together and your head, and then you attach it to the base. Standard bearer is the same. You attach your 2 different halves of the model together, then attach it to the base. And your musician, again, 2 different parts of the model attached to the base. So really quick and easy to build. You've also got options to build these as regular Clanrats as well. You've got options for your champions. So you can see here, you can build them a different champion as well from each sprue. So you've got a Verminus, a Scryer, or alternatively you build it as a Clanrat. Again, you've got very few pieces, 3 for the champion, which you can see here, giving you a choice of heads. Your other standard bearer comes in 2 pieces, or the regular Clanrat comes in 2 pieces, and your musician again comes in 2 pieces. Following on from that, we've got the rest of the Clanrats, and these all come in 2 pieces. As I said before, you can see just how dynamic some of these poses are, and this really helps vary up from the old Skaven, where they all had a very, very similar pose. Very static looking pose. So this adds a lot of character to your unit, which you can just see just by looking here. And finally, let's look at the sprue for this unit. You can see the different standard bearers over here. It's quite easy to make out which body part's which, and I think roughly speaking the 2 halves tend to be together. So you can see 26 and 27 over here. You've got 32 and 33 next to each other, 31 here, 34 here, you've got 28, 29. So roughly speaking, I think the 2 halves of each body are together. And again, you have got this very sort of coherent appearance despite each model having its own individuality, with this sort of tattered cloth, sort of metal plates, or sometimes cloth armour. You've got this mix of triangular and round shields with all sorts of different designs with studs or the Skaven symbol. So they've managed to give each model its sort of own unique appearance whilst keeping them coherent. Again, you can see the sort of cloth banners. So overall, these should be very good for contrasts, washes, or regular paints. Only exception might be this banner here being a bit flatter. And the mould lines again are very few and far between. I've had a look at the sprue, but it's quite hard to actually spot any with how the sprue is designed. Some of the heads have a few, but it does seem like the sprue was designed to minimise them as much as possible. So on to the final building instruction. You can see the terrain pieces here. So you've got a couple different terrain pieces. I'm not quite sure how many there are. I think there's 3 or 4. So you've got these 2 separate ruins, and you've got these 2 sort of obstructions that you can see here. You've got this bell in this one, but they're quite simple to build. This one comes in 3 pieces, this in 2, this in 2, and this in 2. So they just help to lift your tabletops and provide a bit of variety and a bit of terrain, which is cover is always good. So you can see the sprue here, and you can see just how much detail there is in these models. You can see all the sort of grooves and cracks in the stonework. You can see the bell here, you've got the skeleton here. I have to say, I'm really impressed with these. I wasn't expecting to be. There's so much detail on them. You can see all the runes here, you've got these chains here. Again, you've got runes here. Really, really intricate and detailed. You've got the Skaven symbol here. So these are really cool. I am very impressed. In terms of mould lines, you can actually make them out on the sprue here. You can see them running along the bottom there, which is what you'd expect, really. Given the flat surface, it's quite common for models like this to have fairly prominent mould lines. But run your hobby knife along them and you'll get rid of them with no problem. So that is it for this video. Thank you for bearing with me. I realise that was a fairly long unboxing, but I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. This helps me grow the channel, and it's always good to hear your feedback as well. If you want to see more from me, head over to mythicalmeeples.com, or you can support me on Patreon as well. That's patreon.com/mythicalmeeples, where you'll get access to extra content, sneak previews, and behind the scenes. If you're in the EU or UK and want to pick up your own Games Workshop products at a discounted price, then head over to Element Games. There's a link in the description below for that as well. Use that link, bookmark that link, and every time you use it, I'll get a 5% kickback at no extra cost to you for every purchase you make through that link. Once again, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.